So right here we have a 216. This one looks to be probably 30, see, it's 30 footer. So it's a hydraulic dovetail. It's 18 plus 12. So 18 foot deck plus 12 foot hydraulic dove. This is a heavy duty beast. This one 216 is rated at 40,000 pound GVWR. This trailer probably weighs, let's see, it's gonna be in the, with the oak floor, probably 8,800 pounds to maybe 9,000. So that gives you, this trailer has a payload of around 30,000 pounds, which is insane. I mean, that is huge. And so we'll kind of walk through some of the features. This one, I would imagine, you know, just kind of imagining who the target customer is, who ordered this trailer. Probably, obviously, being construction or Kubota, if I can say Kubota orange, that direction of orange color would be a construction site. You know, it's loud, you see it coming, it's hard to miss. Great marketing tool for a company, because say you have a construction company in your town and all your whole fleet is this construction orange. Hey, they know who that is. They know who's in town, they know who's working, they know who's getting it done. So this trailer is being only 30 feet, 40K rated, super stout little guy, probably hauling excavators, maybe even a light dozer, small to mid dozer, because this one you can see has rough cut oak floor. Now oak, a lot of people know, in a short period of time, if you don't seal it, stain it, I mean, it can get kind of ugly. I mean, just being real with you, over time, oak will not be nearly as pretty as some of the other flooring options, but what is guaranteed is that oak is way more dense and will last so much longer, especially when you're talking about putting any kind of tracked equipment on it, beating it with chains, different things. I mean, oak is gonna last a long time. And so, like I said, this is a rough cut oak floor compared to the standard 2-inch plain pine floor. This oak is gonna be way more durable. So, in this one, they've got oak, you know, down the sides and in the middle, and then on the Dove, they chose the full steel runner with cleats. So you can see this one over here, the other hydraulic Dove, that one's got blackwood on the outsides and pine in the center. The black one on the outsides is standard. On this one, they've opted for full steel runners with cleats for maximum traction. With the 5/8 square stock cleats, I mean, there's not a lot you're gonna go up here and lose traction, because it's gonna grab these cleats versus being more smooth like the blackwood. So, and it's got the oak in the center. So this is a super tough flooring option and tail design, because this person did their research, I'm assuming, and knows, hey, I need a very rugged floor and tail design, you know, to put up with the abuse or the work that I'm gonna use this trailer for. So, Hutch suspension standard when you're talking about 16K axles. Got the Valcrum aluminum caps, 215 17.5, 16 ply wheels and tires. Let's see what it looks like inside this box. So inside the box, when you're talking about this setup, of course there's no compressors because it's not an air ride unit, but you have your hydraulic pump, you have your hydraulic brake pump. So this trailer has hydraulic either disc or drums. I can't really tell. So this one has hydraulic disc brakes on 16Ks. It comes with all of our, anything that has a tilt or has a hydraulic dovetail comes with a wireless control. It's just a must when you're riding equipment or loading equipment on the trailer. So, single Group 27 series battery, KTI brand pump. Let's see. Oh, and this pump also, that's why it's got the selector valve. You can actually work the battery's not hooked up. We don't hook the batteries up on the yard so that there's no potential for them to be drained before shipping. They're tested at the door, they unhook one side of the battery. So, but this selector valve, it selects between hydraulic dovetail and hydraulic jacks. This trailer has both. That's the beauty of it, is that you can use the same pump to power both the jacks and the dovetail. All right, so lastly on this one, when we were talking 40K package, the 40K package, it makes the flange, bottom flange of the I-beam a lot thicker. That's, again, with engineered beam, we have so much control over the thickness of the material. You know, it's very intentionally engineered that, so we know this trailer's gonna be put under a lot of stress when you load 30,000 pounds on it. So we have a different beam for this versus the 216. Same profile, but it has a thicker bottom flange on it, thus it can handle more weight. And so not only is there a thicker bottom flange, there's some frame reinforcements, then you get up to the coupler. This trailer has the 40K Telus Coupler on it. So this is a patent pending product that we developed, and the cool thing about it is it has two sections of adjustability, one here and one here. Whereas all the 40K couplers on the market prior to this only had one section, only 3 inches of adjustment, not giving you hardly any versatility depending on what tow vehicle you're using. So on this one, you have about 6 to 7 inches here and 3 inches here, giving you pretty much the full range of adjustability as your traditional style round couplers on your lighter weight goosenecks. So the Telescoupler is a huge advancement in the 40K market, giving you the adjustability back, but also being wildly strong with these ribs around it and then the thickness of the tube and reinforcements. So it's a sweet trailer. Again, you know, I spoke to it a little bit on the video the other day, but just one more point about the color. Orange, loud, hard to hide, and with the way trailers are stolen these days, it blows my mind. But with the way trailers are stolen these days, try to cover this trailer up. Try to cover it up. It would be a ridiculous task, right? So good theft deterrent. Let's go see what else we can find. All right, so I've spotted over here a deck on the neck. We've done a few videos on them. They are a neat addition to any gooseneck, not just Fleetnecks, but even like a LPD dump trailer with a gooseneck or an LPX equipment trailer with a gooseneck. The deck on the neck is universal. It can be bolted on, it can be welded on. Here it is right here. It can be bolted or welded. This one happens to be welded on this FMAX. This is just a 210. But the beauty of it is it gives you added storage space on top of the deck up there for whether it's tarps or attachments, maybe even a pallet of goods up there. If you've got the whole rest of the deck, you know, filled up with cargo, you can actually use that as additional deck space. So again, it's available on all gooseneck trailers. And the cool thing about this one, if you do it even bolt on, you can put it on pretty much any gooseneck trailer, not just Diamond C's. So, but it is a weld on option as well. So the deck on the neck is a good tool. A lot of hot shotters do deck on the necks, but increasingly construction workers, landscapers, and even farmers are doing deck on the necks just to maximize their space. You know, this day and time, you know, you may only really want a 32-foot bottom deck, but essentially once you add an 8-foot or 7-foot long deck on the neck, now I've got a 39-foot, you know, trailer. So you've got some space for additional working space, that is. I've got one here that's got the 7-watt solar panel on it. That's a great option for if you've got a hydraulic dove like this one, or air ride, or even just hydraulic jacks. That panel, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that panel is gonna keep your battery charged all the time. That's just not true. It is a battery tender, more or less. It's a trickle charger, but given a day like this, a beautiful day out here, it is putting energy back into that battery all the time, just constantly giving it little bites. And it has overcharge protection. That's one thing we should talk about for a second is, you know, this panel, I'm not sure, maybe it's 180 bucks or something. The difference between this and going online, say to Harbor Freight or one of those places and buying a cheap panel for 30 bucks is typically those don't have overcharge protection. These do. One of the most common reasons a lead acid battery will overfill is that they are overcharged. And so in this case, with the overcharge protection, you don't have to worry about that. This battery has a cutoff, so once this solar panel has a cutoff, once it senses being charged, it won't overcharge your battery. So it's a good addition to have, especially when a trailer is gonna be, you know, used fairly often, but sit some where it's getting, you know, and it's not able to be plugged in. All the hydraulic trailers that have a battery on board have a plug-in charger. And so if you can't get it up close enough to a plug-in, the solar panel definitely helps offset that. Another option is LED work lights. You can get a pair of them. Again, this is pretty much on any gooseneck trailer that we offer. They are 2700 Lumen. They articulate, well, it's pretty tight, but you can turn them in or out, front or back, and be able to load at nighttime. You know, you can point them out to the side. If you're doing, even if you're not loading, you can actually point them out to the side so that you can have additional lit up workspace, say, out beside the trailer. This one has the full width chain rack as well. It's welded on. It's available in a bolt-on after the fact as well. If you wanted to buy one and retrofit a trailer, comes with the catch can. You just screw it to the floor. Then that way, the pins are on both sides, but you can open this flap, hang your chains across there, shut it, and you could actually replace this pin with a padlock to where that nobody can steal your chains. Because, man, out on the road, for whatever reason, beyond me, but people like to take things that don't belong to them, especially away from the ones who they see, man, they're grinding, they're working hard for their stuff. And we all know those chains and binders and things are not cheap. So definitely want to get a locking chain rack if that's something that you carry with often. One thing I wanted to talk about, we talked about hydraulic jacks, then you have standard jacks. So standard jacks, the old regular crank jacks, 12K drop legs. You know, those are the standard jack, kind of standard in the industry. You got hydraulic jacks. And then here's another option. This is Jost brand 2-speed jacks. Most of the time, 2 speeds, they're great if you have to unhook loaded, because they have, like the name says, 2 speeds. They've got a much tighter low speed gear that, yes, it takes more revolutions to get it lifted, but much less effort spinning it around. Then if you're gonna unhook from your truck or tow vehicle unloaded, it has a high-speed gear which takes far less revolutions. So these are actually aluminum cased, and they got a steel drop leg, just like the 12Ks. They've got a drop leg, it's spring loaded. But the cool thing is they're anodized black, but they are aluminum extruded jacks. Same brand that a lot of semi-trailers run is the Jost. So those are pretty sweet option. Not a lot of added dollars. You know, it's probably, I think the option's like 900 bucks, 800 or 900, which in the grand scheme, when you're putting together the ideal trailer, that's not a lot of money for the benefit of hooking and unhooking fairly easy. Talking couplers, here's another example of the 40K Telus Coupler, but you have your normal round 2 5/16 coupler, like on this trailer here, this 210, but then you also have an option for a square coupler that's a load leveler. It's got the jack handle on top, and the beauty about this coupler is you loosen your set bolts, and even with the load on the trailer, you can take and raise and lower your trailer to get it to ride level. That's why it says load leveler. Then you simply tighten your set bolts back down and you're ready to go. Versus on the round coupler, to set your coupler height, you have to kind of guess at where it's going to be and then take the load off of the coupler and move it up and down, pull the pin, move the coupler up and down to get the bed set just where you want it, put the pin back, tighten the bolts up, then let it down on the trailer. That's kind of a common, something that we should talk about though with the round coupler, is when you're setting your ride height, make sure that you unhook from the truck after you've kind of found where you want it to be. Unhook from the truck, then tighten your set bolts. Because if you don't, and there was weight on the ball or on the coupler, you try and tighten those down, and say the trailer's not on a perfectly level incline, and that coupler moves around, you're never going to get these as tight as they should be, and then you're going to be subject to the coupler moving and actually wallering out the pinhole. So you want to make sure that you set and tighten these with no weight on the coupler to where it's good and snug. One quick side note, when we're talking about colors, this metallic gray is definitely one of my favorites. It's got all that sparkle. You see that? That DM coating is shining, and that's a lot in part to, you know, the whole process of the DM coating system. But definitely one of my favorite colors, because number one, it's other than black, and this charcoal goes with pretty much anything. It's a great color. So let's see, there's another color over here that is, so we have like eight or 9 standard colors you can choose from on the online quote builder, but this one is not a standard color. but it's unique. It's like a kind of a OD, you know, Army color, military color, I should say, but it is desert tan. So this is a FMAX 210 hydraulic Dove, similar to the one that we looked at earlier, but it is, they've requested desert tan, which is a sharp color. All right, so we found our guy, charcoal gray FMAX 216, and these are the Xdr ramps we were talking about. 24 inches wide, 60 inches long. You know, the Max ramps have been great. Max ramps are like that panel over there. They're the two 44-inch wide ramps, but that's not exactly what's best for everybody, because on those, there's no space between. And so on this one, it's got a very intentional gap between. So if you're hauling an excavator or something where you need to set a boom, an arm, or a bucket down between, you've got a gap there to do it. And also, it's got the big knee ramps on the back, so hauling heavy, concentrated, loaded equipment is much better in this case, because it's just intentional. So let's see if I can set this down. It comes with the Max Ramp hold downs, well, or the new hold down latch system that we came out with last year. Completely out of the way. It's got the two-part hinge system, so it's got one hinge inside and one out on the bumper, which makes lifting and moving the ramp a whole lot easier. Just takes a good flip, put the ramp back down. No more 2-inch ratchet strap holding it, and now the ramps aren't going anywhere.